welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. Y'all know my co-host, John. John, what's up?
Hey, everybody.
Y'all know my co-host for the co-host, Wade. Wade, what's up?
I'm doing great.
All right. So tonight we are going to be discussing heart conditions along with strokes in Desert Storm veterans. And there's been a lot of stuff on Facebook, and I know a lot of the groups, when they sit around, they chat about this is, I don't think they're thinking about actually at they're adding into their age into it and with a lot of other stuff. And the factors, their risk factors are higher as you get older anyway. Anybody that's about the age of 50 should automatically get their heart checked along with everything else checked, colonoscopy, anything you can dream of, a good physical. And so, but with that being said, I would like for John to kind of talk about why we're discussing this because of what happened with him about a week and a half ago, why he wasn't here last Thursday.
So the bottom line is I've been having some chest pains that I just kind of, I don't know, I chalked up. Maybe I was exercising a little bit, didn't get too excited about it. I ain't getting any younger, carrying a little bit more weight than some folks. But I was out mowing the lawn and it was pretty hot out that day. It was in the 90s. That's pretty warm. Humidity was high. I got to the front yard and I'm about halfway done. I said, okay, I shut it off because this isn't normal. The pain was getting worse and worse. And sometimes you got to know when to throw that red flag and walk away. So I did. And then I was walking back along the house. Our driveway's right next to the house. And my left arm started tingling. Then I started getting really nervous. I came in, cooled down, talked to my son, who's an RN, talked to my wife. They were kind of highly encouraging me to go to the ER. Well, I'm a little bit stubborn because we've all had the pains that we can't really diagnose. And we're like, just give it a little bit. It'd be okay. I went to bed a little earlier, couldn't sleep, woke up about 4:30, more chest pain. Or chest pain never really went away. About 4:30 in the morning, we called 911. They came. They came and got me. They they've been here quite a few times. But this chest pain, I couldn't, sometimes it's stabbing, sometimes it wasn't. So they give me the nitroglycerin pills, which is, I think, pretty typical. And gave me the first one. How's it going? No real change. Give me a second one and actually got a little worse. And he's like, oh, okay. And we made it. So I live about 20 minutes from the closest ER. And we were probably 5 minutes out. And after he gave me that second one, whatever that EMT or whoever it was that was watching after me told the driver, kick it in the ass. Whatever he saw, he didn't like. And so we get there and get in there, and they're like, I don't know why they brought you here because we don't have, we don't have the capabilities for angiograms and stuff like that. I was there for a short bit, and then they transported me to a hospital to another town that does have that. I got there. They, I explained the situation. All the doctors looking at me, doing all the EKGs and everything. By this time, it was early afternoon, and they made a decision that I was going to get an angiogram. I was scared. I was going to have an angiogram anyways, but they said, we don't think you're at acute risk for heart attack. We don't see anything glaring at the moment. Like, okay, what are you going to do? It's probably 2:30 in the afternoon at this point. A little later, about 4 o'clock or whatever time. It was early afternoon, I suppose. It was time for supper. I hadn't had anything to eat because they told me you're going to have this procedure. We don't want you to eat or drink anything. Whatever, I get it. So that's fine. But at this point, it'd been close to 16 hours. And the nurse that was taking care of me, super nice guy. He was, this guy had been a nurse for like 30 years. He was sharp, very well spoken. You could just, you get a good sense for whether they want to be there and how well they do their job based on how they act. If they're a personable person, that kind of thing. And it sat down a few times. I had family in there. We were talking. I sent my family home. I said, listen, guys, I'm going to be here till tomorrow because at this point they're scheduling it tomorrow afternoon. Okay. I ate a little something. Half an hour later, I'm like, I'm getting a lot more pain, and it's getting damn near to the point where it was when I was out mowing. I say, "Okay, John, you're here. Freaking hit the button. Get a nurse in here." I hit the button. I'm hurting, really pretty good about that time. And when we're hurt pain, some of us you can't necessarily talk that much. You're trying to get through the pain, right? And this gentleman comes in. He goes, "Why are you talking like that?" I said, I threw the F bomb. I said, "I'm freaking hurting." And he says, "Okay." And he gave me a nitro. Waited a few minutes, gave me another nitro, and here again, whatever they had me hooked up to shit. And after that second nitro, I said, "Yeah." I started grunting. He goes, "What?" I said, "The pain's getting worse." And he looked at whatever the information he was getting, and he says, "I'm calling it." Whatever that was. Next thing I know, I swear to God, there was 12, 15 people in that little big tiny room. And I was I was down to the cath lab within 30 minutes because whatever they saw, they didn't like. I got down there, they did their thing. I don't well, let me back up here a little bit. After they gave me the nitro, or no, he gave me not propanol. I forget something. They had injected, which I think for most people would have kicked the pain down, but it didn't do anything. And that's when he gave me. Did he give me the nitro? I don't know. I kind of lose track. But anyway, when they were down in the cath lab and they were checking things out, when it was all said and done, they said, "Okay, got a little blood plaque build up. Um, we're not seeing anything." And I'm like, great. I mean, the next day I was scheduled, or not next day, uh, it was a few days later, I was scheduled to go see the um, name of the doctor. It takes coronary doctor, right? Um, so I had 2 or 3 different people give me a few different terminology. One said disease, and I looked at her. I said, "What do you mean I got disease?" That was their terminology for plaque buildup. But it was pretty. They said nothing to get excited about. We don't. The heart had a good squeeze. They said. I'm like, okay, great. That's fine. But what's causing me the pain? And I never got a straight answer.
But they also brought up that could have been a virus around.
Yeah, they did use the
Okay.
terminology virus, and I'm like,
And,
okay.
and
But
I've heard of that.
the doctor said it could be a virus, but if it is, I can't tell you what it is. And I'm like,
Okay. So,
okay, uh,
okay. So I'm going to jump into something on
sure,
that. I know with a buddy of mine that is going through a lot of this right now, and he actually had a whole bunch of blockage. They do not use pain medicine at all on y'all if y'all ever have surgery. I've learned that with heart patients that
no,
so I did. I just learned that. I had 2 buddies of mine that had heart attacks and they opened them up and nope, they don't use pain medicine. One of them was wide awake whenever they were drilling into him. I was like,
no,
hell no. No. Uh-uh. All right. So I with you being in a hospital, I know it scared the crud out of you because I talked to you and
oh
everything
yeah,
else. And
hundred percent,
it's
100%.
understand
I
your
was one
family.
nervous individual
But that's
because
what
the ticker goes bad, you're 6 feet under, man.
well
I mean, I'm
uh,
used to. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I mean, that thing stops
right.
working, you're dead. You
Well,
know,
doctors today can perform so many different types of procedures that's just amazing.
right,
And that's where we're going to get
right,
into this conversation today because I wanted to know because I hear a lot about Gulf War vets saying, we're at a higher risk for, heart disease. And I was like, are we really? And it actually does state we are, but they also
yes,
talk about the uh, burn pits, not burn pits, I'm sorry, oil well fires. I know Gulf War vets with the burn pits are a lot higher risk than what we are because of what they went through. So I just wanted everybody to understand something. And me and Wade got into this, and I'm going to let Wade explain when the oil well fires really begun, and who was more affected by them than anybody? I want you to talk a little bit about that, Wade.
Well, so basically, what we mean you were talking about was the amount of exposures. Um, I think you got to kind of put it in perspective. Myself, I landed in Saudi on August 20th of 1990. The ground war started February 24th. Yes, we had an air war prior, obviously, air and the naval bombardment, which was 30 days prior in January. Okay, there's still no exposures, i.e., quote unquote exposures. So we had a 100-hour ground war. Okay, we were inside Iraq. I was inside Iraq until, if I recall right, it was about March 12th, possibly March 14th. I landed back at Pope Air Force Base on April 1st. Now, you put that in perspective, that's 35 days, 35 days from the start of the war to the time I'm home. Okay, yes, was there exposures? Absolutely. When did the oil well fires actually start? When the Iraqis started to retreat and pull out of Kuwait and start setting them on fire. Okay, the Marines, they got doused. They got doused in oil, they got doused in smoke, and you've got what I've always tried to, try to explain and try to put it in perspective is the actual quote unquote exposures was a very limited time. What do I think something exposures happened? Absolutely, I do. But what I'm trying to, put it into a more of a context as far as your time when, we weren't sitting there for 9 months getting exposed. And some people might say, oh, the fine dust, the particulate, the sand, whatever. Okay, if you want to throw that in there, great. But when you start looking at what the VA and what the research all look at, 2 weeks, 2 weeks tops exposures, the Marines that were down in Kuwait, maybe longer.
Okay, so Jason, I got this question for you. I would like to know, do you remember when you got out there, when the oil well fires in the Persian Gulf in the waters? Was that before the war started or was it after? I don't know why I remember it was before. I mean, I don't see Saddam going out there trying to send their little P boats out there. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot longer. And that's what I remember. What I remember pulling in going, what the hell, all these oil well fires going on fire.
Okay, so like Jason says, jet fuel. Okay, are the military not exposed to jet fuel right now?
Oh no, yeah, of course.
Have they not been exposed to jet fuel for the last 35 years?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to put it in perspective here. Have we not had troops in the desert for their last 35 years?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I mean, have those same troops not taken vaccines? They have. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. But I think the difference though with our vaccines, quote unquote, we were experimented with the PTABs and with the injections and with everything else out there. I think we're guinea pig for everything. And they're never going to find out exactly what we were exposed to. We've heard it straight out of a doctor's mouth going, they're never going to know. And
Right.
so that's whenever I started looking at it going, okay, then why are y'all researching? If they're never going to find the illness that everybody claims, okay, and I do agree. But we also got into the conversation of also, Wade, me, you got into conversations of like how the presumptive list grew.
Right.
Right. Okay. So from what I remember, they went into the Vietnam era. They looked at their presumptives and moved them over to ours. Some of them. But I remember at the very beginning not knowing that we had a full-on big list. I only remember like 4 things: IBS,
Correct.
chronic fatigue,
Correct.
okay,
Fibromyalgia.
fibromyalgia,
and any other medically unexplained condition.
Right. Along with
That was our
chronic
presumptive.
fatigue. Right.
And
That
then in
was
2022, when the PACT Act got signed, we were moved over to the PACT Act along with the Vietnam veterans with the whole list of cancers
right.
and all of their
Right.
presumptives,
Correct.
along with the Vietnam veterans.
Right. And so, but it does say, which I understand, like there's some of us who were out there more than just once. There were like for Navy guys, I remember the second time I went out there was in 92. And I remember going out there, and that I remember being more smoky than what Desert Storm was. And I mean, there were days that it was smoky out there and you could smell it, but man, the second time it was really smoky. And so that's why we're discussing, okay, the oil well fires was a big deal. I mean, even if you breathe in them for 30 days, it's still a big deal. But the burn pits and ours was different. I mean, because the burn pits, they were breathing in every day, all the time, and it was all different paint, metals, everything. I don't want to say what else, you never know what else they threw in there. But
what about your contaminated water on the boats, ships?
That's right. Right. Petroleum that was poured into the water. We drank some of that. I mean, but also Wade brought up a really good point of being on the ship. Yeah, let's say ship, not boat.
Correct.
Okay. All right. We got to talk about that.
Man, I'll work on that.
About that in after show. Okay. No, but if any of y'all, understand is the cleaners, when you would do a wash down or anything like that, the cleaners back then, that was really toxic that they finally got rid of that stuff. So
why did they get rid of it?
Because it was toxic. Right. And so that's why they'll never be able to pinpoint. Now, the one that got me though.
Oh, can I stop you right there? I want to address something real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so Jason is talking about the cause is known. Gulam and Haley found them. No, Gulam, with her research with Gulf War, has discovered mitochondrial dysfunction in some Gulf War veterans. Now, if you recall, we had her on here, and I asked her, if all three of us has mitochondrial dysfunction, can she tell where that mitochondrial dysfunction, how it came about? And she said, no, I cannot. So she cannot tell if we got it 35 years ago, or did I get it for the last 20 years from working in a nuclear power plant, a chemical plant, a chlorine plant, because I got contaminated groundwater in my backyard. I have mitochondrial dysfunction, but she cannot pinpoint how I got it. Yes, Haley did publish his research as far as exposure to sarin gas, except for he researched it for 20 years, and then all of a sudden, right before he retired, he publishes his paper and nothing else has been done about it. Why not? I'll just leave it at that.
Right. I mean, and that's true, because if you really think about it, and John brought up to this good point. And so really think about this. John was like, what is it that Dr. Nicholson did to help his daughter when she first got back? Was it just doing the NT factor? Was it other stuff?
There was no NT factor.
Right. So what did he do to help his daughter to get better?
Did you go back and read, John?
I did not. No, my mind's been 1,000 other places. I mean, I did not ask that question. But to that point about trying to identify specifics, I talked to both of you. I talked to my wife before I saw this. Before I saw my doctor today, I said, "Here's why. Here's my plan of attack as to the approach I'm going to use as to finding out about my ticker." I said, will it help her to know that I was in the Gulf War? Will it help her that I might think that maybe my mitochondria, will that help her in any way? As asking various questions, the answer to all those questions is no, because it's hypotheticals, because she's going on the information. I went through a lot of tests. It was all black and white right in front of her. She goes, this is her words. My cardiologist yesterday said, listen, your heart's beautiful. That was her terminology, my doctor's terminology. I was like, fantastic. She goes, everything looks great. She goes, I can't explain why you're getting pain there. I don't know. And then she, then she goes, yes, it's idiopathic. I cannot pinpoint it. I'm going to up your medication because they put me on a minimal medication. I bumped it up slightly. She asked me about, do you want an additional drug because I'm a bigger guy to help lose weight? I said, absolutely not, because I don't want to have to deal with the side effects, and I don't believe in that for me. I don't want to mess with it. I said, I'm part of a web page that talks about side effects because of our time in their service. That drug, whatever the drug, there's going to be, to me, more likely than not, some side effect, which I don't want to have to hassle. I just want to try and eat clean and do the right things I can for my body. So I was very self-aware of the questions I was going to ask pertaining to what I believed she could even plausibly give me an answer to. So,
but now, with that also being said, what is the number one cause of heart disease? Stress. Stress is the number one killer of almost anything, because when your body is stressed, everything comes out. It's just the truth. When I was in the military, I'm going to tell y'all this right now. I'll show you my medical records. I came across, and we were in the Philippines. I was coming across onto the ship, and I was telling the first lieutenant, I said, man, I'm telling you what, man, my chest is killing me. They ran me down. They did everything. They couldn't figure out why my chest hurt. But at that time they were scoping me for blood, that I was having blood coming out and all this stuff, and they couldn't find anything. And a lot of that can be related to, and that's one thing that doctor told me, is like, look, you're under way too much stress. You need to slow yourself down. Well, apparently they never been in the Navy as far as being on a ship as a bosun mate. You don't get to slow down.
I asked her point blank that question, Kevin. I said, can anxiety cause me this issue? She goes, absolutely.
Of course.
I'm like,
of course. Stress and anxiety, man.
Well, I just, not that I needed her to tell me that. My wife was sitting there. I'm asking the questions that might help, asking the questions like everything. Can I go back to exercising? Blah, 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 blah. And then when I asked her about anxiety, because, I'm not the cardiologist. She is. She has the know-how. She has education. I'm just a guy. I'm just a Joe coming in saying, hey, my freaking heart chest, and her hurts, or my chest hurts, and they can't find anything. Like, okay, what's next? I mean, I'm grateful, don't get me wrong, but hell, I got a whole lot of no answers is what I got. Zero.
I'm going to put this up here. If you have been diagnosed with neuropathy, then you need to have a small cell neuropathy test done too. Yeah, I had that done. I just had to put that up. I thought that was interesting. But just so everybody understands, we're in our 50s and above, and as you age, things are going to change. So you need to change with it. Your lifestyle, your exercise, everything about your lifestyle needs to change for the better. Stop the drinking. And, and I keep kicking this out there. I'm gonna keep kicking this tire down the road. If you are in a place where you are drinking too much, smoking too much, having way too much fun partying, cut that lifestyle back, or you're going to start having problems later on in life. Remember, you don't want to be in your 70s, wish you did this in your 50s. So let's bring that back and start thinking about what we, watching the news every day. Shit, man, I'll tell you right now, watching news will give you a damn heart attack.
Yep.
I mean, that'll stress you out so much, your heart, you're just like, golly, being on the internet, getting on a lot of these the sites out there these days, you'll read them and think, oh my God, man, this and this going on with my body and this, and this. The more you think about it, the more it's going to happen. I'm a true believer in the more you think you have something, it's going to get worse and you're going to have it.
Okay, so let me stop you right there. Let me just throw this out there.
Okay. Throw it
So
out.
I'm the youngest of 7. Okay. My dad, first heart attack at 50, dead at 54. My oldest brother, the only reason he's alive is because of modern medicine. Heart. 2 brothers, dead. 1 at 50, 1 at 56. Heart. I'm 55. I'll be 56 this year. Now, and this is what really frustrates me about a lot of those Facebook groups I see out there, is I stubbed my toe. It's got to be Gulf War illness. Okay, so am I worried I'm going to have a heart attack because of my family heredity? Or am I worried I'm going to have a heart attack because I was in Desert Storm? Okay, I'm not worried about either one. Eat healthy, maintain a decent weight, quit drinking, quit the smoking, de-stress as much as possible. If I'm going to have a damn heart attack, I'm going to have a damn heart attack. But then, so tell me, if I do have a heart attack, what am I going to blame it on? What's the most logical reason?
Hereditary.
I would say it's hereditary. It's not a damn thing that happened 35 years ago.
Right. And I agree with that. That would be in my family also. And,
so that's what brings me up to, we talked about studies, three episodes ago?
Yep.
And then Tina was on. I wish she was here because we didn't have a chance to address it. But we talked about it shortly. In 2023, Gulf War illness may increase heart disease or stroke. And we did not get a chance to talk about it. But this was a study that they put out, which I went back, we looked. Nobody reads the study. The very first thing it says, there are some limitations to this study, no doubt about it. Absolutely, there's some limitations. They used 998 veterans out of 700,000. Okay, versus 660 healthy veterans. Okay, doesn't really sound equal. It was done by a mail-in survey. Okay, this was done in 2020 and 21. By that time, half the people who did the survey have already got it planted in their head that they have Gulf War illness. So, of course, they're going to answer the questions according to that they got Gulf War illness. And so it comes back. But what is interesting is a lot of individuals that I've spoken with, high triglycerides seem to be a common denominator, which high triglycerides will help lead to high cholesterol, your LDLs, yes, will lead to a heart attack or stroke, which all can be controlled by being addressed by your primary care and can be addressed by exercise and diet, which when I talked about after the American University's study, I have backed off my cholesterol medicines, no longer on them. Blood pressure medicine, no longer on it. Diet, exercise, no alcohol, lifestyle changes.
And that's what we're trying to push. Is
but if I have Gulf War illness, Kevin, I'm going to have a heart attack.
Right?
I mean, come on.
Right. I mean, now, granted, there are certain things that I do agree that we got over in the Gulf War.
Absolutely. I totally agree too. Absolutely.
100%. We're not saying things that happened over there that didn't.
That didn't happen.
What we're doing is people are pushing a narrative that I see on a lot of these Gulf War sites, and it's only certain people that don't watch the program anymore. They quit a long time ago. That they pushed that over 50% of Desert Storm vets are already dead. You're all going to die from heart attacks. You're all going to have cancers. You're all going to have this. Let me tell you something. Stop believing everything that you get out and you read on these Gulf War sites that people push, because them are the people that are pushing you to go and do studies that I frankly, I don't believe in. I believe in some of the studies. I don't believe in a lot of the studies. I believe that some researchers, not all of them, are out in it to keep the funneling money. I don't believe in the terminology of Gulf War illness anymore. I believe in the terminology of Gulf War that we got side effects from it. That's what that's my whole premises of this, is because if we keep pushing the narrative that we have something, we're all gonna you're gonna get it. That's how I look at it.
And you're
I
going to
feel
get it
that
in the
way.
brain right here. Your brain is going to cause it.
Right. And what they need to do though is if the VA wants to solve a lot of these problems, have them do testing on microplasma.
Absolutely.
If go and talk to your doctor, have them do a microplasma test. Then that way you actually know what is going on. Microplasma plays a big part of your body, and it could be a lack of certain different things. And so just push the narrative that you want to do better for yourself.
I think you know, watching watching news, definitely social media. I mean, whole lot of negative content. Back to my when the doctor asked me, because I told her, I said I want to lose weight, and it was because of that. She goes, "Do you want me to help you with that via medication?" And that was my own decision to say no. I know that it helps some, and I'm glad it does help some. I just choose not to because I don't want to have to worry about that possible side effect. I would just rather try and do it on my own. Now, that being said, when I go out and do exercise, sometimes I have chest pains, sometimes I don't. Should you ignore them? No, you shouldn't ignore them, but you got to know your own body. Okay, I just was told my heart is fine. That doesn't mean there isn't issues, but it's my decision to make as to whether or not I want to try that product. You know what I'm saying? Because I know in today's world they're really pushing the whole, hey, take a
Right,
pill or take an injection, it'll
right,
help you
right.
lose weight. And great if it helps you, and that's what route you're in charge of your own body. Kudos to you. I choose not to.
Right. Well,
So
Stephen, I'm going to redress this. Okay. There isn't a test. There is no test for Gulf War illness. Because I'm telling you right now, when I go there and I talk to doctors about Gulf War illness, they don't believe in it. They they don't believe in it at all. And so that's
There are two labs that will currently do your test for the Mycoplasma incognitus M. fermentin strain, which that's what Dr. Nicholson researched in the mid 90s. And that's what he pinpointed to what our problems originally are.
now,
I have the lab sheet for both labs. You have to pay for it out of pocket. It's about $250. The issue is you have to get a doctor to sign off to order the labs.
right.
So
and what
You
is
can
that
go
going to
to an
show us?
outside
What's that
doctor.
going to show us?
that will show you that if you're positive for that particular strain of mycoplasma, and that's what Dr. Nicholson on both times that he's been on the show. That's exactly what he has pinpointed to our issues.
Yeah, and then the fix to the microplasma. I mean, he came up with the NT factor, but he's not, and he's suggesting that will help with the fatigue, which it does, but that's not going to fix the problem.
Right,
It's going to
mycoplasma.
band-aid the
The
problem.
original protocol was 6 weeks of dicocycline or 3 weeks of Cipro.
And I brought up where he talked about the biomarkers, that they refuse to do. And the VA is not going to do it. I've asked my doctor. They told me no. And so I was like, I was talking to Wade about it. I'm going to go to an outside doctor. I know I know doctors, so I can get somebody sign off on it to go do it. I'm going to get mine checked. I just want to see. And then that way have them work on that end. So neurological disorders, to me, that is actually like fibromyalgia. I do believe something over there gave us brain fog, gave us stuff, but I also believe it's a lot of medications we're on. I do believe that, but I do believe there are neurological disorders that we picked up out there. I do believe that 100%. But when you're 5'6" and weigh 350 pounds and you smoke and drink all day long, and you're in your mid 50s to
That's not good.
60s, I'm just saying you're probably going to end up having a heart attack, or if not, a stroke. And that's the next point. The stroke. It talks about that Desert Storm vets are higher, but the reason they're higher is because of stress and PTSD and exposures to chemicals. but that they don't say, okay, the heart one talks a lot about, oil well fires. Strokes only talk about, chronic inflammation, heart disease, high blood pressure, stress, eh, but it doesn't say what type of chemicals. And so that's what I want to bring up, is because this is what I've been reading in a lot of posts that are on some of these sites, and a lot of these sites are good because a lot of people go in and say, no, don't believe that. Go get this, and this done. And that's what we need to start doing, is fighting back on people coming in and saying, hey, did y'all know? Because they will put false research out there, studies done that is false. It isn't true. And that's why we're coming back on here and trying to debunk this. And that's why we're pushing, do better for yourself. And so, it's toxic exposure illness. But there's toxic exposure illness in everything these days. And I believe what also didn't help was COVID. I believe that, any of the jabs you take, anything experimental is not good for your body. Everybody's body reacts differently.
Or not even just the jabs, but if, like, I know I had COVID 3 times, but just by having the virus, I know my sniffer's all messed up.
Mine too. To me, that was a bioweapon. That's exactly how I look at it. It was.
So I mean, whether you took the jab or not, if you had the infection, you just.
And I'm telling y'all, I just, a lot of people talk about chemtrails. I don't know about that stuff like that. I mean, I don't know about any of that stuff that goes on out there. All I know is I stopped watching the news every day. I started doing my own stuff. As a matter of fact, y'all probably saw the song I put out that I wrote. I did the video, by the way. If y'all haven't seen it, it's really good. Go on our page, check it out. I'm pretty proud of myself. I have to brag every once in a while. I did something really cool. So, it was really cool. But so kind of take a big step back and start thinking, okay, does this Twinkie look good today? Or should I eat something a little bit better or a whole lot better? So let's change up the diet. And I'm telling y'all, I've got up to 202 pounds. I lost 40 pounds in 5 weeks, and it wasn't hard. And I didn't do hard workouts. I did a dad bod yoga workout, and I also started changing my attitude. Instead of being pissed off when I sit in traffic all the time and getting stressed out, don't get me wrong, I still get some pissed off a little bit. But my wife will always say, what would Jesus do? Well, I used to say, my best terminology, well, he turned somebody blind. But I don't say that anymore. So what I do now is I open the door for people. Anybody opens the door for me, I say, thank you. I start treating myself better, because then that way I can treat other people better. And that's what I want to bring up to everybody, is take care of yourself. Stop looking at these websites and don't go to Dr. Google. My gosh, stay away from that. Dr. Google is the last thing. You get on their WebMD and stub your toe, and by chance you're going to say you're dying of a heart attack. I'm just saying. I mean, you get the worst news if you try to Google that stuff yourself. Get all your primary, get a part of the MOVE program, even at the VA.
Yeah.
Start doing, or even an outside doctor. Just to sign up for a gym if you have to sign up for a gym. Get with a group of vets that want to get together and work out. Do something that's going to better yourself.
Get in the car, go for a drive.
Yeah, a Sunday drive, man, like the old people used to do.
That's exactly. I was with my daughter today. We went driving through a state park, and we just saw the deer. We saw this big ass eagle sitting out on the sandbar.
And that's
just sat there and watched the eagle for 10, 15 minutes.
I mean, I am the baby of this group. I just want you to know that. You know, even though it's by a year, I'm still the baby of this group. But I mean, is John? Is there anything else you want to put into this?
No, like we've been saying, you got to listen to your body. Now, as far as exercise, I'm gonna do everything again. Although I would love to, I'd ask Wade about what Dr. Nichols, because he's, Wade's the one that's got all the information and everything. What the fix was, we were talking earlier, like for his daughter. Now, you said, Wade, just to reiterate, just because I know other people might, even though if we got to pay it out of your pocket, what was it that you get tested for, or you can pay to have tested for again?
It's a specific mycoplasma strain. It's called Mycoplasma incognitus M. fermentans strain. It's a whole bunch of Google garbage. And I can text that. I can send it to Kevin. Maybe he can put it up.
Yeah, send it. And when they find that, the fix to that was what?
That's by a prescription doxycycline, which you'll have to get prescribed by a doctor. It's very hard to get that actually treated. I mean, to get a doctor, you're going to have to take it into a doctor and say, hey, I got this. I was actually thrown out of the VA from infectious disease when I went in there with my positive test and told them, hey, I have this. This is the treatment for it. Had the letter from Dr. Nicholson. They didn't want to talk about it. And I kind of threw a fit, and they told me I needed to leave.
Hey, Wade. So in the comments, someone said, can you type that, please? And you got to click on the comment section and click down there.
Yeah, I can't type. I can't type that.
So anything you just said.
Yeah.
And so Wade's going to try to get it to me, Stephen. If we don't put it on here.
And I can send Chaos. I'll do that, and I'll send it to Kevin, have him put it up, and I'll actually send Kevin a copy of the lab where you can order it, and I'll put a little X by which lab test it is, and then you can just print it out. All the information's right on the lab test, on how to go about doing it. There you go. Just started vet. He's got it on the first part, but I mean, and yeah, if you want to go to it's IMED, IMMED.org. That'll bring up Dr. Nicholson's original research. I can't type on mine over here,
right?
For whatever reason.
Yeah, it's probably I blocked you. No,
but IMED.org, IMMED.org, and that. And then he has all the research, original research from back in the 90s from Dr. Nicholson. And then I'll get you the original spelling for the mycoplasma as well.
And before we get off, I'm going to bring up something Jason said. Right here, okay? He says exercise can further harm and pushing your past your limit. Okay, Jason's right. That's why there is and I'm telling y'all, I'm just letting all y'all know. I'm not getting paid for this advertisement. Okay. I'm just going to tell y'all right now. You go on the internet or to your app store and you type in Better Me, and it will come up a Better Me, and it is a yoga chair workout. I promise you, my best friend up in Abilene is doing this right now. And he was like, man, that's a lot harder than what I thought. And y'all, I'm telling each and every one of y'all, the first time you do it, you're like, this is crazy. But as it goes on, all it is certain stretches, but it burns a lot of calories. And I mean, I never lifted a weight unless I wanted to. I used 3 pounds at the most, but most of the time it was like pick up a water bottle. That's like 3 weeks into it. I mean, by the 4th week, I already knew the exercises. It only cost me like maybe $2.99 or $4.99 for 1 month, and that's all I needed. And I exercised, I did it and everything, and I just kept going with it. In which, I told my wife I need to get back into it since we moved into the new place and everything. I'm going to get back into it because I started feeling better. I started feeling a lot better, and we're not I'm advertising this only because for me and Wade and John, I think it helped them. Go on Amazon, type in NAD, NAD plus boosting. Okay. And look at that. It's for aging men. Believe it or not, that helps. And so I'm not going to tell you, this stuff's stuff we're doing are cures for your ailments or anything like that. But if you want to help yourself, there's stuff out there. And just make sure at any vitamin or anything you're taking, it's the real stuff, not the, imitation crap. And so, I'm pretty proud of everything where we have accomplished, where we gotten to so far. I'm proud of John, proud of Wade. I'm proud of my video again that I made yesterday and put up this morning. But anyway, I'm really proud of it. I really am. And so, with all that being said, y'all go and check out. It's in the reels. I made a reel of it, but there's actual song on there. It's called Homeward Bound. And I don't care if you're a Desert Storm vet, Vietnam, World War II, all the way up till now. The one thing that I would tell you, this song fits every one of us, because when we get somewhere in a place of war, all we think about is home and how we can't wait to get there. And that's why I designed this song. And that's every bit of why I did it. It's inspirational and I love it to death. John doesn't like country music, and it's the first time I ever heard him say that was exceptional. So hearing John say that,
you did a good job.
What was and Wade probably listens to everything, and he probably just telling me because he's just being nice anyway. And if y'all see Wade on any Go For sites and he happens to make comments, it's not that he's putting anybody down. He's just trying to help y'all, man. He's not out there to bully anybody or to upset anybody. He's out there to try to make y'all understand that not everything they put out there is 100% the truth. And so there are a lot of Go For sites like Save Our Children, Go For Babies, and all that I recommend everybody who has kids getting into learning about stuff that we may have brought back. And also remember, a lot of the war that we fought also had bioweapons. And so that also did something to our bodies. That also changed stuff up. Y'all go, check out our new song again. You can press that again. And then go check out our Patreon, man. So we're trying to build this up. We're trying to build up YouTube. Go check that out. I really appreciate it. Like it, subscribe, share it, share this video. And that's the other thing that I was going to tell each and every one of y'all who are listening to this. Like and share these videos. The more you press the like button and the share button, the more this stuff gets out. We're trying to make everybody understand our war may have only been 100 days or less, but we're still fighting the battle. And we don't want to fight it with every other vet's out there. We all want them to understand our war was still our war. And everybody's war is their war. And we want to know we're all still in this together, even from Afghanistan vets. And so, with that being said, please contact me at kevinsimon@goforsideeffects.com. We're going to start having guests come back on. And I want you to come in, tell your story about what you did during the Persian Gulf War. And you can tell what you want. You can tell if you don't. If you want it read offline, which I'm waiting on that, Wade. You know what I'm talking about. I want that story to be told. But I would like for people to contact us. Contact me on Facebook if you have to, or Wade, or John, and let's start getting more of our stories told up there. With that being said, I'm going to thank y'all for listening. Y'all have a great night. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, everyone.